Hi, everyone. Welcome to Parenting in the Trenches, College Transitions. We're going to talk about tonight. I am Dr. Tanya Farron, owner of Creative Living Ideas, along here with my amazing partner, Dr. Qureshi.
Hey, good afternoon, Dr. Tanya. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well, doing well.
I am doing wonderful too. It's a Thursday night today, not our usual Tuesdays. And I was about to be like, oh, it's another wonderful Tuesday. And I'm like, nope, this is specifically a very, very special episode that we decided, we were going to add this month, in addition to another episode next week that we're going to cover, which is back to school. But this week, we decided we were going to do college transitions. Why? Because all of our amazing kids, young adults are starting college, universities. People, parents are packing their stuff, right? Putting things in there, loading their cars, getting the U-Hauls, driving their kids down to campus if they're living on campus. Yeah, everybody's really, really busy, which is why, I'm excited to have this conversation. So
I
what
agree.
about you, Dr. Tanya? You have
Yes.
any college transitions going on right now?
Well, I don't have any college transitions. I do have the school transitions going on right now. And with that being said, I wanted to share out with our audience a few things. I'm trying to pull one more thing up. Sorry. You know, when you think you had it all together and you didn't. I'm at that moment right here. But, for those of you that don't know, I'm the author of Raising the Well-Adjusted Child, a parent's manual. And so inside here, I talk a little bit about transitions, but not enough. That's going to definitely come in book 2 because transitions are huge and our kids experience transitions. We as humans experience transitions on a regular basis. So even for me, for me to go from my summer schedule to going back and, to my regular workday schedule with teachers and students coming back, that's a transition for me. So all kids of all ages and all people experience transitions. But yes, right now, we're really talking about college transitions, and a little bit into the show, we'll kind of bop in. I've released some videos about back to school. They may seem a little elementary, and we'll talk about them again next week too, but I just want to make sure that people know that in the comment section on LinkedIn, they're already available for you. They may seem elementary. However, the tips and things inside are still relevant no matter what age your child is going through transitions to going back to school. So yeah.
And you made such an important note, which we definitely have to highlight, is that it's not just a transition for students and kids, it's a transition for parents and families. So
Absolutely.
it's everybody's going through a change, right? So what I would love to do is kind of break this segment up in pieces where let's talk about your first child going to college.
Yeah.
And then we also gonna have an amazing guest. I'm wondering if we can bring her
Yeah.
online now because I would love to hear her first year transition too.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'd like to welcome our guest who is popping up on screen. Here she is right now. This is Lexi Romerl. She is an amazing woman. She is an amazing coach. She has a career in sports business, and she's also my daughter. And so she's my firstborn. And so excited to have you, Lexi. Tell everybody, I kind of gave an intro, but tell them about you.
Hi, everybody. First thing, I'm sorry to ask this, but can you hear me okay? I just had to switch over networks.
Yes.
Okay,
can hear you.
super. Just wanted to double check on that. Okay. Well, I'm really happy to be here. My name is Lexi, like you said. I work in corporate sponsorship during the day. So I'm on a college campus in their athletic department all day long. Working in various facets there, and tomorrow actually is move-in day, so it's a big day for everybody on campus. And then I also am a high school softball coach, so I'm able to kind of communicate with those kids that are making that transition and have that ahead of them.
Well,
Yeah.
that is so awesome. So you're going to bring a whole different level of experience here because college student, right? So I'm definitely asking the questions between and how that
Yes.
first year was. Okay. So that's going to be first segment. Then you're actually on campus, and then you're
Mhm.
also a coach. Oh my God, you have like all the data that we need.
I know. Hey, I tell everybody that I literally live Groundhog Day, right? I get older, and then everybody that I work with is the same age every year. So I'm just living this college, high school lifestyle every year, even though I just keep getting older and older. So yeah, I have lots of data.
That is awesome. And it looks like there's some connection problems going on too, Dr. Tanya. Lexi, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. Let me
She lives
double check
basically
one
in a
thing.
tree house.
Yeah, I do. So I do apologize. I should have gone somewhere else, but let me just put this right here. Can you hear me still?
Yep.
I don't want to do that the whole time. So if you can't hear me, just
you're kind of pixelated. That's the issue, I think, mostly. A little
bummer.
lag. It's all right. There's a little lag. You're all right. It'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get started. I think, again, it will be great to kind of talk about the first college transition, right? How many years ago was that, Lexi, for you and Dr. Tanya? And um, just tell me about it. How
Sure.
was it, your last year of high school and kind of just navigating? We got the PSATs and the SATs, and then we actually have the college applications, and then bam, summer rolls around and you're ready to go. So start wherever you think is the audience would be helpful to share.
Absolutely. So I went to college in 2017. Well, fall of 2016 was my freshman year of college. And it was hard. I was living at home for a long time, right? Of course, because I was in high school, and I was planning to move to Chicago and go to school in Chicago, which I live in St. Louis, so that's about 5 hours away.
Okay.
It was really hard. It was a really tough transition for me. I'm obviously the oldest, as Dr. Tanya said earlier, so I was the first one in the family to do it. And I lasted about 8 weeks, and I decided this is not for me. I want to go to college closer to home. And I was playing softball, and so I had a team of people around me. I mean, it wasn't like, we can go into this later, but like making friends and getting involved is something that immediately you need, no matter where you are, if you're close to home or if you're far away. And I just basically called my parents and was like, this is not for me. I think I need to make a different decision, which is the first thing that I tell my athletes, right? Like, it's not any sort of sentence. If you decide to go to college and then change your mind, it's your life now. And so it's a fun transition. And if you decide to change your mind, that's okay.
Yeah. And, as a mom, it was, I was excited for my daughter. Everyone always asked me, are you sad she's going to Chicago? What if she leaves and she doesn't ever come back? That is what people said to me all the time. And I'm like, I don't know. I think I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I was super proud of my daughter. She had a really successful high school career. You want to call it a career? I think it's a career in a sense. She had lots of friends. She was in sports and loved her, had a really great support system. And I remember thinking that I had a good relationship with my daughter. I was going to continue to have one no matter what. So no matter where she lived, yes, I wanted her near me. I would have been sad if she stayed in Chicago, but I knew that I was hours away and that I loved her dearly, and it was fine, and I was proud of her. I wanted her to know I was proud of her. And I feel like you felt that feeling. I don't know, maybe you did. I don't know. I feel like you felt that. I think one of the hardest things for Lexi, and I remember a moment in her bedroom when we were packing, she had this great group of athletes that were really close friends with her in high school. And then she realized all of a sudden that everyone was going to a different state because everyone got a college scholarship somewhere, which was so exciting for all of them on signing day at the high school. We're going to here. I'm going to McKendree. I'm going down to, this state. I'm going to, Illinois. I'm going here. And then all of a sudden she was like, all of my friends are all leaving. We're all going to different places. And I remember that being a realization for Lexi. And I was like, well, yeah, you're right. And she had a girlfriend that went with her to play softball. And, we've said oftentimes that, God has a plan in your life. And we really think her plan was really to take her friend to Chicago. She was just kind of like the caveat, like the little stagecoach that got her there and dropped her off.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a great story. I mean, if you get a chance to talk to her one day about, her transition and things like that, she did not have plans to play softball in college, which I'm not saying that everyone needs to be an athlete. I mean, that definitely is not everyone's life, but she wanted to go to architect school and she wanted to stay close to home. And she ended up getting picked up by the same coach that I did and went to Chicago with me. She was my roommate. She met her husband there. I mean, when I left, she stayed and she was like, sayonara, sister, like, have a great time going home. I'm living here. And she played 4 years there, graduated from there, and just had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that just speaks volume to like all of our plans that we have, right? That we can see, but then the things we can't see that God has planned for us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so like for your friend, she was a whole different here and then got a scholarship here. And then she doesn't even want to leave, right? She didn't go into thinking that she's going to love where she's at. She's going to meet the man of her dreams. And you're going to just go give her a few, encourage her. And you're going to her in 6 weeks, you're going to be gone.
Yeah.
And I loved how you use that reframe, Dr. Tanya. I loved how you use that reframe that, hey, your initial starting college, those 6 weeks, right, were for you to see off your friend and make sure she adjusted.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was traumatic for Lexi. Lexi struggled for a year or so. It was hard.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard for her to be there. It was hard when she got home. She had to make new friends. She did find a new college. And I would say she did all of the work. I would not say she's probably not a typical college student, and Lex can probably go into this a little bit more and explain it. But when you are an athlete, you're an NCAA athlete. She was Division III, going to be a starter, going to Division II, had to get permission to leave, basically to go play at an NCAA school. She did all that legwork and said, I want to come back home. And that was hard. You had to find ways to reach out.
It's hard. I mean, a transition is a transition in any way. And so, that's basically the first time that I had to start making adult decisions for myself, right? And decide like, this isn't for me. And I think every time I'm going to use the word survive, but it's not always survival, but every time you overcome a transition and you make it on the other side and you're positive about it, the next time that you have to make a transition in any way, it just gets easier and easier and easier because you start to trust yourself a little bit more. And yeah, my transition in Chicago, I realized like, this isn't for me. I don't want to live far from home. I miss my family. I miss like just being around the people that I know, but I want to still play softball. And so I'm going to have to make another transition. So even though I had already made a change, essentially, I knew I was going to have to make another change in a relatively quickly time frame if I wanted to be happy. And so, that's not everyone's story. If you do play sports, you have to be released from your letter of intent. And the world is completely different now with like NIL and money and licensing agreements and, athletic departments essentially owning you, but
competitive agreements.
Yeah. But I had to walk into the athletic director's office and ask for a release. And she was like, no, I don't think that you need that. And I said, well, yeah, I do actually. I'm losing it here and I want to go home. And she was like, well, let's just get you a job. And I was like, no, I don't want more work. I want to go home. And essentially, I eventually, like, I got my release, of course, and then I could talk to other schools. So it just depends on your situation. It was hard, but you know, it was exactly what I wanted. And so every time that I had to make another transition, this isn't the point of the show, but let's talk about, you know, you get your first job, you're the new girl again, you have to make new friends. I got married and I moved into a home with my husband and I had to live a life there. That's another transition, right? And so even though all of those things are positive stress, they're still transitions and they're still really hard on your body. And it's really good to be mentally prepared and mentally tough in the way that, like, I've already overcome all of these other things, even though they seem small to other people, it's still a change.
It is. And, you know, one of the things like that, you know, the living space, even so when we transitioned her back home, we wanted her to have a college experience. The college that she went to was 15, 20 minutes away from the house. And financially, I was not going to pay for a dorm room 20 minutes away. And so we have another building on our property and we turned it into her apartment, you know? And so we had to find another transition. What does this look like for our family? You know, and as a mom, like, I want to respect her college days and give her space and not be watching her every move that she's making. She wants freedom from me. You know, she wants space away. So there's a transition piece, right, that comes along with that, where every child is ready for something more. Now, my other daughter, she made it very clear she was going nowhere. She said,
she's like,
I'm not going anywhere, you know, and that's our family story, and two different kids and two different stories, you know, with that transition and emotional attachments or, you know, levels of comfort, I think, you know.
Yeah. And I think, like, the biggest thing for us was just communication, right? Like, I was open with the fact that, like, if I make another mistake, guess what? It's going to be a mistake. And I just need support knowing that, like, if I come home and I still don't like it, we have to make another change. And the communication that I had with my parents and the relationship that I already had with them was strong enough to where they said, okay, you know, you're 19, but we trust that you have a gut feeling and you know what you want. And there's a little tough love, right? Like, if you're going to come home, you're going to do it the right way and you're still going to go to college. And, like, you know, of course, like, we had standards for that was our family story. And it was, if I didn't have the support system, I think I would have just flailed and not really known what I wanted. But yeah. And I think the other thing that I want to bring up about this transition is that from a parent standpoint, I never felt like anybody was telling me what to do. And at times that drove me insane because I was like, I'm so unhappy. I don't know what I want. Can somebody just please tell me how to fix this? And they were like, no, you can figure it out yourself. You're a big girl now. Like, you can do it. We're here to support you if you fail, but you know, you can do it yourself. And again, that sort of tough love was just like, kick you out of the nest, go figure it out yourself.
You know, and you do, as a parent, you want to encourage your kid to stick it out a little bit. Try this, go here, go to dinner there. Yeah. I'll come in and check on you. I mean, I went into town. I went into Chicago for a weekend. We had a blast. It was a great weekend.
Yeah.
We like being together. So we had fun.
I didn't mind the city of Chicago. If my whole family was there, it would have been great.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you guys, and the things that are, like, standing out to me that made this transition, let's just say, a lot easier than it could have been, was the fact that you, mom and dad, did an awesome job in securing their relationship with you. That attachment, it's, you know, you're talking about the communication and being able to come back to your parents and say, like, this isn't working for me. Not every kid has that option.
Right.
Right. And not every kid has the option of even dropping, let's say, a full-time scholarship too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that can be really hard on athletes. I've seen athletes, and I'm speaking in the athlete world because that's where I live, right? Like that's where I am currently.
Right.
But other students, I'm sure, feel this way if they're on a specific like academic scholarship or, something like that. But for athletes specifically, we're in a lifestyle of this is everything that we've worked for, and this is everything that we've tried to become. And suddenly it's not living up to its potential and having to sort of face that, right? And so do we live in our unhappiness because this is our dream and we can't really see out of this? Or do we try to make a change and it may not go our way and we may not be able to play at this level, or we may not be able to transfer, or, in the world of the transfer portal right now, you put your name in the hat, you release your letter of intent, and if nobody picks you up, you don't play sports anymore. So you hope
It's
that
tough.
someone gets you. It's
Yeah.
really
I
tough.
mean,
It's a
your
tough
first
choice.
year, your first year of college, you were making a big decision,
Yeah.
a
Oh.
huge one. And
Dr.
your
Q,
parents
let
were
me
like,
tell you, I didn't want to do, I was like, get me out. I'm out.
Well,
If I play
it's
ball, I
funny
play
because
ball.
You do, and you're as a parent, right? Like I said, you encourage them. I mean, I think about the parents that drop their kids off at 5th grade camp. Honey, you're gonna be okay. It's 5 days. We love you. We're gonna be here. Here's your safe people, right? You do all of those things, but when you're hearing your daughter call you every day and tell you how unhappy she is, and this is the story I'm gonna say. This is on me and your dad, but my husband just kept telling me, you're enabling her. She is fine. You are enabling her. She is fine. And I'm like, I am telling you, she is not okay. Like I know her. I am telling you this. And your heart is breaking as a parent. You're trying to like grow your child. It's not working. You're growing them, that you're doing everything that you think is right. I'm talking to a therapist. What do I do next? How do I help my daughter?
Mhm.
But then get this, Dr. Q.
What?
She calls one more time, and I said, let's get your dad on the phone. I've got her on this phone. I call her on my work phone, and she says, Daddy, I'm ready to come home. And she's crying. He goes, okay, what time? I'll leave right after work. I'll pick you up. Be ready.
And he did.
And I was like, oh, really, big guy, huh? Now who's the enabler? He's like, she was really sad. I'm like, I know.
No, really? That's what I've been saying the whole time. Yeah.
Did a little turn and burn, came up to Chicago, picked me up, threw me in the back of the truck, and was like, well, that was fun. Let's go home.
That is exactly.
And I'm pretty sure it was you were not laughing back then, right? But
No, yeah.
stories
I
of
mean, it's been
survival
almost 10 years since I've laughed about this,
10
but
years.
yeah.
I mean, but these are our stories of survival, but this is also a story of thriving, right? Often we talk about, like, I know in my work, I'm always like, I'm tired of surviving. Aren't you tired of surviving? Let's thrive.
Yes.
In that, so it's like, not only are you making really courageous decisions, right? Your mom and dad are supporting you in your decisions, and it sounds like it ended up being the best decision, and that's what you needed.
100%.
It was the best decision. So just to kind of like transition that, I had to make another transition. So think about this, Dr. Q. So I was a freshman in August in Chicago, and I was brand new on the team. I transferred schools in December, and college softball season is in the spring. So it starts in February. So I was playing softball for a new school on a brand new team. Like January 15th was my first day at that school, and I was in season. So I didn't know my teammates. I hardly knew my coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything. I knew nothing. And I was like, Lord, please, if you could just get me out of this like cycle I'm in of just like brand new everything, like that would just be great. And it was crazy. It was a crazy year, crazy time. But I will tell you that the lessons that I learned, and I can communicate these with teenagers now, right? Because I've lived like a crazy transition, and I've had players that go to schools and they love it and they play there for 4 years, and it's their dream and it's everything they've ever wanted. And then I have players who call me and basically say the same thing that I told my old coaches, right? Like, I need help. I don't know where I need to go. Can somebody help me call a coach? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to transition somewhere else. And we have to be the support system for them. And it's easier for me because I know exactly how they're feeling.
Yeah. And they're very, very grateful for that, right? They're very grateful. You're not doing that thing that your person did. Oh, let's get you a job, right?
Yeah. Oh, you practice 4 hours a day. Let's give you some more work. Oh, okay.
And I have stories like that too. One of the things I learned in my career is I've had some amazing mentors and supervisors, but I've had some where I've learned not to do certain things as a supervisor. And it sounds like that was your learning experience there. So with that, ladies, we are coming to half of the show, and I have one question for both of you possibly, and then we can transition from the first year to next stage. Lexi, as you look back, right, is there anything you feel in hindsight you could have done differently to know that going away was not for you? Like, again, as you look back, right, like, are there things that happened or things that could have kind of guided you in the way that you stayed at home instead of going to Chicago?
Yeah. Yes, actually. Two things probably. I probably would have shopped schools around, right? I would have got on more visits. I would have been on more campuses. That's my biggest advice to anybody is go and get a feeling for the campus, get a feeling for the people you're going to be around every single day. A lot of high schools in at least our state, I'm sure multiple states feel this way and have these rules, but you get X amount of college visit excused absences. So use them up. Use them all. Go on every visit that you can so that you know if it's the right feeling or not. I only went on 2 visits and I took my second offer. And if I could go back and redo it, I would go on probably 10 visits and just see how I feel and where I should be. And then my other thing is like, I should have just listened to my gut. The conversation that my mom was talking about and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't want to go. I should have just not gone. I should have just been like, this is a gut feeling that I really, really need to listen to. And I didn't, because I was just like, well, this is what I need to do. I've made the commitment. I need to stick it out. And I mean, hindsight's 20/20.
It is. And you're 18 years old, at the time. I mean, you luckily were 18. Some kids are 17 when they go to college, And so you were young. And how do you know that? How do you know when you've never been uncomfortable in any schooling situation,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was living the high life. I was like having the best time. I had the best friends. I was just like,
I mean, yeah, I bet. I mean, I have a great time with your mom. So
yeah.
And I only get like 1 hour a month. So why wouldn't you? And I do want to say, right, like, again, like, we always think about, okay, what if I went this way or that way, right? But I think you going there and recognizing it brings you some level of contentment too, right? Because if you didn't, you could be sitting here thinking like, oh, what if I had went away to college, right? You never know. So it's really about the choices that you make and how you learn from them and like continue to make choices from what's in front of you, right? Seek support. Have open communication. So I think when we think about first college transitions, right? Or transitions in general, I always tell everyone preparation. You can prepare for traditions, not traditions.
Transitions.
And traditions come in. So make sure you come home for the holidays, right?
Yeah.
I kind of jumped onto another topic of transitions. Right. So prepare ahead of time, have open dialogue, right? And I think for parents, here's the one thing I would encourage you to do. Okay. Everybody, no matter how close your relationship is with your child, especially if your child goes away, make sure you let them know they can come back if needed.
And we did. And you know what? I think she knew. I mean, we talked enough about that. I feel like did you feel like you knew that you could come?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's why like my initial thought was like, pack this up. I got somewhere I can live. Yeah.
I'm out of here. And so I'm going to answer the question that you asked her for me. I don't know if you're going to direct it at me or not, Dr. Q, but as a parent, and my husband and I talk about this, and we talk about this with Lexi, which is why we think what she's doing right now is so critical to specifically young women, because she mostly works with young women. But, we didn't know where she could play softball in college. Softball has been her whole life, and we didn't know anything about it. We didn't know how to do it. We didn't know who to ask. We didn't know where to look. And we should have looked at schools. I mean, we're in the St. Louis area. There are probably 25 minimum colleges within a 30-mile radius that she could have attended. And we didn't, that all have sports programs, and softball in particular. And so we didn't know that to help her, find that space.
That is, I love that point. Part of what you're saying is, some things are just generational gaps, right?
Yeah.
There's some things we're not going to know, right? Yet when it comes down to these milestones or big decisions, as a parent, go out there, get information, get as much as you can that will make you feel good about the decisions that your kid is making too. I mean, in this case, it sounds like Lexi had a good head on her shoulders, and she was on the right path. So you're like, yeah, she got this, right? We're not worried. But you could have done some work on the local end just in case, and then come to her to give her more options.
Sure. Yeah. I do agree with that. And I do love what she does, because I think it's really critically important for the kids that she's working with and their families. She has, and I should have had Aaron join you. Her husband actually works.
I thought about that.
Why didn't
you
you
just got him in here? Oh, well, he's making dinner.
But her husband works at a university as well. So he is dealing with transitions of college students all of the time. And so, the university where they met, that's where he's working. So it is, there's a lot to learn. And sometimes as parents, you don't know. So my recommendation for parents that are listening tonight is follow myself and Dr. Q, because this is what we're doing. We are putting out information for you as parents, no matter what age your child is, building a relationship, communication with one another, really knowing your child, knowing when your child says, I'm to here, I'm done, listening to them, honoring that piece of them. And everybody's is a little bit different. Everybody's level of tolerance, window of tolerance is different. So making sure that we do that. I also want to thank people who are joining us tonight, like Lisa Fevick and Leslie Flowers, Tracy Cow, I don't know. Thank you, Abhishek. Jay, thank you for being here. Director Rami, thank you so much. And Christy Williams, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate your support. And feel free to drop in your parenting experience or a story or advice that you may have for another parent about college transitions for your kids.
Yeah. I mean, college transitions are big ones. Obviously, we have anxieties around it. We have, there's a lot of change coming down the pipeline, and it looks very different for different people on so many different levels, right? And I think in that, I also want to highlight, and this is the piece where my family therapist comes in, right? We often look at the college student who's about to transition, the kid, and not necessarily the parents, the caregivers, or even the siblings that live in the household. Right? So how was it like for you, Dr. Tanya, and your husband, and even your youngest daughter? The first college transition for Lexi. I don't know why I should call you Leslie.
Okay.
As for our family, I would say, we're a close family. So like I said before, I was proud of her. I was anticipating going to Chicago a lot. We were going to be there quite often. If we weren't there, she was probably coming home. It was probably going to be twice a month for us going there, type of a thing. I mean, we were already checking out hotels. Like, we're pretty close. For her sister, I'm sure it was, she didn't say a lot other than she expressed, I'm not going away. Like, she knew that was not her vibe. She is definitely 100% said, if I go anywhere, it will be home. I don't want to leave. And I know that they missed each other. I am sure that they did miss each other, and it was odd. I mean, it's just odd when you lose a member of your family. There's the empty space at the dinner table. There's the only one person coming home from school. There's a hole in your family at that moment. When they're gone, and they're just at college. So they're it's different. The vibe feels different.
It's a readjustment.
It really is. It really is. I mean, it's from the less amount of laundry to the, not having to set one more table, spot at the table. It's empty, so it's hard as a parent. And I feel fortunate that, I have a strong relationship with my family, my husband and my kids. Some people don't have that. And so I'm sure for them, the person leaving may really be their person that they connect with in their family, whether it's a sibling or a parent. And that creates an even bigger hole for them. And I think that, a lot of times I think we forget, we feel like we can't express to the person who leaves that we miss them. And we can't. It's okay to say, I miss you. That doesn't mean you have to come back. That just means I miss you. It's okay to express that feeling. But it's a huge transition for families. It really is. And for every member of the family. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It brings me back to thinking about, especially the oldest child in a lot of the families that I work with, if not almost all of them, the parentified child, right? The oldest child can become the parentified child. So when you talk about missing, part of me thinks about like the sibling who actually has moved away that protected their siblings,
especially
right?
the older child, right?
What?
In the pecking order of a family, the oldest child, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So like that guilt of even going away. So like as I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, how did it, especially for me, like how was it? I was the oldest. Okay, my story college transition is so funny as I look back. The cultural aspect of my transition it was very hard, yet it's silly now. But I remember I got a full scholarship and my parents did not want me to live on campus. They're like, nope, you're not living on campus. We don't want you to live on campus. You're going to go buck wild and everything. And I was like, but I have a full scholarship. That doesn't make any sense. So I had to get my scholarship director involved. And she had to do some personal sessions with them to convince them. And do you know what hit the nail on the head for them? They didn't have to buy me a car.
Oh, okay.
Because as a freshman, we weren't allowed to have cars.
You're not allowed to have a car. Yeah.
They're like, oh, we're saving like $25,000. We don't have to get your car. Okay, you're living on campus. That was the first thing. And I was like, yeah, forget about the $50,000 they're going to pay for school for 4 years, right? And the second thing that worked for me is the school I had, the College Park, had an all-girls dorm, and they only had one.
Oh.
So those are the two things culturally that made it somewhat okay for my parents to let me live on campus. But it was a lot of work. And my mom used to pick me up every Friday and drop me off every Sunday night. So I didn't have a social life. So you guys, that's a whole different topic. Okay.
But I love that, Dr. Q always brings a culture piece in for us, and I love that. And I appreciate that, because that is definitely something that, we're learning. I continue to learn in parenting is that, the different cultures have different, expectations, guidelines, rules, yeah. And so that definitely changes things.
And some of them, sad to say, unfortunately, can be a hindrance to growth, like real growth and potential. Yet I think that's where I come in and we come in as educators, right? Where family members are looking for support. Mm-hmm. They're looking to speak to someone on the front line. that can say your kid is going to be okay. We got them. And that's
Yes.
what I had. I had Miss Jackie Lee. We're friends now, 25 years later. From the scholarship is 25 years old now. She was my front person. So for parents that are dealing with a lot of anxiety, right, and worry about what it's going to be like for the kids, go out, reach out to people in the school system, have a conversation with them, set it up with your kids, right? Go on these college tours with them, right? Because those are the people that you are going to be able to contact to check up on your kid when you can't get there quickly enough. And
Yes.
that also ties into what we've been talking about, your parenting village, right?
Yes.
You're creating your parenting village during college transitions. So with
Absolutely.
that, you ladies have anything else you want to add before we maybe do our bullets?
I just want to share one thing. So hold on, let me get to my screen share here, because you just made a marvelous conversation moment here. So if you go to the parent to parent, it's linked in the LinkedIn section. If you go to the parent to parent, I've got back to school tips. Now, like I said, some of the imagery on here that comes through the videos is elementary. However, you're talking about getting to know your school community right here. So even going to college, get to know the people in the registrar's office, get to know who the life coach is, walk around the campus, go through those different components of the university. When can they go to the gym? When does the ice cream place open? When is the coffee spot open? Like, help them live through there, so they're not just sitting in their dorm room, but this is primary, and you can gain some tips from this just listening to these things. Important conversations to have with your child. A lot of times we pack them up to school and say, goodbye, go do your thing. But did we talk about what goals did they have? What did they want to achieve this year? What are their personal goals? What are their social goals? What are their emotional goals? What are their academic goals this year? So I talk about these, and these are 4-minute videos back and forth. Now these few in here about how to practice being a student, that's a little more elementary, but this one, preparing for transitions, it is talking about getting yourself into better habits, from going from that relaxed summer routine to being ready to go to school, and how to, prepare for those transitions for your child. So check those out. We'll bring them back again in the next week, but I definitely think that those are important things to talk about and to notice. So check out the Parent to Parent site. Plus this show is streamed on the Parent to Parent YouTube channel. It's also streamed on Dr. Q's YouTube channel. So check those out for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing those. That is a lot of resourceful information for anybody and everybody as well.
Absolutely.
And we have some awesome people who have joined us, who have additionally joined us. See, we need some of those comments.
Thank you, Felipe, for doing that. And then we also, thank you, Lexi, for sharing so much. We also invited Dr. Young to join us tonight, but he was out of town. He was not able to join us. And he works on a college campus as a professor. And he talks about the classes that he teaches is about public health. And so he's in Chicago, actually, ironically. I didn't really put that together, but he is in Chicago. He is part of the 2350 network and will be coming to St. Louis here in October. So we'll get to meet him in person. I'm excited about that as one of our network retreats. So he says some things about and Lexi, chime in, with any of these or anybody, but don't be afraid to talk to your professors. I mean, it seems so scary when you're a kid, but don't be afraid to reach out to them, email them, call them, stay after class and ask them for help. They are teachers. Teachers by nature are helpers. They want their kids to succeed. They want their students to work. And let me tell you, Lexi can jump in with this one. They don't want the parents calling. They want the kids calling. Why do they want the kids to call? Lex, why do they?
The kids are there every day. And so the parents aren't ever there. And so if you want to be part of that conversation, it's easier to have if you're there every single day and you're part of that culture that that teacher has put in their classroom or that professor has put in their classroom. And yeah, don't be afraid to talk to your professors. I mean, going back to you only have to do the hard thing once. You talk to an adult one time and you have, a good experience there, and hopefully that adult is understanding and that professor can help you in whatever you need. But if you do it one time, it's not hard after that. So you only have to do hard once.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I would add to that is, of course, starting with talking, but like being intentional in developing relationships with your professors, but also their TAs. I mean,
Mhm.
those resources are there. And I remember, because, I went to a big university, College Park, and some of those introduction classes are like hundreds and hundreds of students.
Yeah.
You are just a number or a name to them. They don't know.
Right.
So the more you utilize them, the more they're going to know who you are, the more opportunities for networking you're creating. And when they know you and you're like a 79, they're going to give you a B.
Right on.
You're
Right
right.
on.
And thank you note.
Oh, yes.
Walk
She
in their
comes.
office with a thank you note. Hey, Dr. Q, thank you so much for a great semester. Here's a thank you note. Oh, your 79 is now an 81.
Yeah, I'm telling you, advocate for yourself, because those things are. I actually have a funny story to tell you guys, and maybe I can. But all I'm going to say is about grades. I didn't do so well in undergrad, but in grad school, I was so hyped about getting a 4.0, right? And I did really well. And in Drexel, if you got an A or an A plus, it's a 4.0. But if you got an A minus, it's not a 4.0, right? So one time I got this A minus in one of my classes. I went up to Dr. Hardy and I was like, Dr. Hardy, why are you playing with me with my 4.0? Because I had that type of relationship with him. I was like, why are you playing with my 4.0? I was like, what can I do to move from that A minus to an A so I have a 4.0? And he literally looked at me and he's like, dude, are you really having this conversation with me about your A minus?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I am. Because now I have courage. I've done this before and I have courage. And I'm going to now, because you did the hard thing once already, right, Lexi? You've already done it. You didn't die from that. So I can ask somebody else. And
Absolutely. And then he was like, are you really, you have an A? I was like, it's an A minus. And then his response was, he's like, Mispa, it's because everybody has growth. I think you could have done a little bit better on this end, but you still got an A minus. And I was like, all right, fine.
Oh, girl. I think we all have that story. Econ class for me, undergrad, having to get into the School of Education. I don't even know. Do you even have to have a GPA to get into the School of Business, the School of Ed anymore? I don't even know if you have to have that anymore or not. But economics class, and I remember I was like, I have got to get in the School of Ed. I'm married. I was married going back to school, and I was like, raise my hand every time. I raised my hand. Didn't understand it. And I had I think I had to get a B2, and I think I had a 79%. And I went into his office and I said, listen, I either have to get a B in this class or I'm coming back next semester. And guess what? I got a B in the class because he didn't want me back, because I was like, oh, wait, I don't understand. Oh, wait, one more. What did you mean? I think he was like, move her on. Goodbye.
Oh my goodness, that makes me think you annoyed the professor you annoyed yourself to a B.
Yes, you probably did.
I'm sure I did.
All right, guys. It looks like we got questions going on in the audience too.
Oh, I don't know. Too much online communication. They're having conversations about building relationships today, whether or not it's an online connection as much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Lexi, what do you think is the best teaching style? How can we promote teaching like it was back in the day so we can sincerely support our students? I'm talking about kids and including adults.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good question. So thanks for posing that. I think, I am technically like a millennial, but I'm more of a Gen Z in the way that I live, because I do live Groundhog Day and I'm surrounded by teenagers all the time. But my biggest advice, I guess, would be to just try to get on their level. Teenagers are very simple. They want love and they want attention. And if you can just try to get on their level a little bit, they will jump through hoops for you. And I've seen that on the athletic space. Kids that I can't get to, and also just understand that, and this is basic teaching knowledge. I feel like I'm not a teacher, so I don't feel this, like I don't know, but understand that you're probably not going to get through to them the first time. You're probably going to have to change your topic. You're going to have to change your way, your approach. But immerse yourself in their culture. Immerse yourself in the way that they live. Think about this. They're in school all day. Their life is their school. And you're a teacher, and so that's your professional life. But like, you have friends outside of teaching, you have a family outside of teaching, you have things that go on besides just you being in the school day, but they don't really. This is their whole world. This is their whole universe. And get on their level, because, how would you like it if your whole universe was either really good or really bad? So that's just my advice, is sometimes if a kid is struggling or you feel like you can't connect with them or something like that, like, just try a little bit harder, tell them to stay after. I just want to get to know you and understand why, I feel like I'm saying this, but maybe you're not hearing me. That's something that I say all the time to my players. Like, I feel like I just keep saying this, but what are you hearing? Because maybe I'm not saying it right. And you kind of have to just bite your ego a little bit and be a human.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Lexi, as I'm listening to you, part of what I'm hearing is when you say meet them where they're at, right, is also learning them as individuals and figuring out what their best learning style is as well, right? One of the first things as professionals, right, in any type of coaching, mentorship, like, we have to figure out each person for who they are and how do they learn best, right? So some people learn best visually. Some people learn through doing things, right? Some people learn by writing things. Once you can figure out the best way someone can learn, then you can modify and adjust your approach as well. And then you won't have to be communicating the same way that's ineffective.
Absolutely. I mean, I have, again, athletes that I have to yell at to get to, and that's not my personality. I mean, I've been talking here for 52 minutes and I'm pretty sure I haven't raised my voice one time, but there are players I have to get on, right? And I say, get in your face, right? And I'm not physically in their face, but sometimes I have to get on them. Then there are athletes that if I spoke that way to them, that would be the end. I would never hear from them again. They would never perform for me, never perform for each other. And, you just have to find a way. And as a teacher and as a coach, it's so hard because sometimes you feel like you don't have the capacity to be able to do that. And you can't give everything that you can give. And I'll just go back to what they need. They just need love and they need attention.
And you can take a break. You can ask. If someone comes to you and you're not in that space, say, hey, can we revisit this tomorrow?
Yes.
Absolutely. Set boundaries with them. If I didn't set boundaries with my teenage athletes, they would be calling me and texting me at all hours of the day, telling me everything. Oh, I got a hangnail. Oh, my sock is twisted. Oh my gosh, coach, can you believe this? If I didn't set boundaries with them and say, like, look, don't have your phone in school. I'll talk to you at practice. We can communicate this way. On the weekends, it's, free reign because they have their phone all the time. But sometimes it's really hard.
Yeah. So let's kind of go through some of these, and maybe if I'll read them out loud, and whatever one resonates with you. We've got about 6 minutes left. We can pick one of those to talk about from Dr. Young. Establish a student routine, get involved in clubs and campus activities, step outside your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to try new things. And it's okay to change your mind, majors multiple times, like change your major and get into a study routine. Lexi, do any of these speak to you that you want to talk about a little bit more?
Oh, get involved. Oh my gosh, get involved. And whatever you want, any college that you go to is going to have anything that you want. If you like Pokemon Go, there's probably a Pokemon Go club. If you want to play club sports, there's club sports. If you want to be an RA, be an RA. The biggest thing that I learned, and that's really why I wanted to play softball in college, was I wanted fast friends. Like I wanted people that were going to be around me and that were going to trust me and like what I liked. So get involved, welcome week or orientation week at every university. There's tables full of clubs and activities and things that you can do. Step out of your comfort zone, like Dr. Young said, and just go try it. The chances of you being in a club with people that, if you like the same stuff, you're probably going to get along.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just easier to make friends that way. It's really hard not to.
And you're probably going to realize that some of the things you're going through, they are too.
Yes, absolutely.
You're not the only person who's dealing with all of these things, right?
Yeah.
So form connections off of your experiences and don't let that, our anxieties or our fears keep us in a shell, because, life is about connections, and that's where you get support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What one speaks to you, Dr. Q, or do you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I want to talk about number 5. Okay.
Okay.
And I the reason why I want to talk about it is because I'm one of those people. I added my second major, my last semester of college. I was about to graduate in May, and I took a family studies course, and I was like, I love this. That's what I'm doing. Everybody was so mad at me. They're like, you got to graduate. I was like, I don't care. So I ended up doing 2 more semesters, and then I pursued my family therapy degree. Okay. So what I want to say to that is, especially as a freshman college student, right? We have a lot of pressure. However, it's going to take time for you to figure out what you like, what you don't like. And in that process, you may have thought you like something and you realize you don't, and that's okay.
I want to add to that, for the fact that, I went to school. I quit school after 1 year, stopped, got married, didn't graduate till I was 26. After I got married, then I went back to college.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I wanted to be a teacher forever. And then I worked on my master's, and then I learned what administration was like. And I watched my leaders, the ones, like you had said before, that I wanted to be like, and the ones I knew I did not want to be like. And so, making those decisions and then having a new career, right? A new degree, and certification for administration of education. And then now, who knew I wanted to own a company called Creative Living Ideas, that I wanted to write books, that I wanted to publicly speak. Lexi was on the very first meeting I ever had about Creative Living Ideas. She's part of my creative team. And I remember the girls telling me, you've got to do videos. And I was like petrified. So we're all going to grow. And it's okay that at 17 or 18, you don't know what you want to be for the rest of your life. I had no idea I wanted to be this for the rest of my life. And I don't know, it'll probably change again. So as parents, let's try not to pigeonhole our kids into this is what they have to be. I'm an educator. Neither one of my kids are educators. I'm okay with that. I want them to be who they are. And my youngest, her sister, was forever wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. I mean, from the time she was in kindergarten till she graduated, probably till her junior year, and then said she did some shadowing and said, I don't think that's really for me. And that was okay. So being okay to change, I think is
yeah.
I mean, if we think about anybody, even as a parent, you're probably not in the exact same position you were when you were 18 years old or what you thought you were going to be.
Yeah.
So let's not put that pressure on our kids, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then Guy is making a really good point too. And I often say this to new students or students. Yeah, focus on the general ed, right? Like focus on the classes you have to get through as you dabble in possibility of what you think your major is going to be, or if you have an interest in something, take electives so that you can really figure out like where your niche is. Like for me, I was pre-med, and boy did I struggle with C's in those classes, but I pushed through. I can go to med school tomorrow if I want to. All I have to do is take the MCAT. But my GPA, you guys, this stays in here, was like a 2.8, okay? And guess what happened? Once I added that family studies major, I graduated with a 3.2 because I got straight A's.
Well, yeah, because it was what you loved.
It's what you cared about.
What you loved, yes.
Yeah. And probably what you're good at. Like that's something that my husband, he works in the student success office of a university. And so he has a lot of kids that come in and say, I don't know what I want to. Oh, there's Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
That's his husband. Thanks, Aaron.
That's my husband.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining, honey. But he will say like, well, what are your strengths and what do you like to do for fun? Because like if you like to help people, you should probably go into a field where you're working with people specifically. If you like to look at numbers, where are your strengths? When you're sitting on the couch at night, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about helping people? Are you thinking about what you have to do tomorrow? Are you thinking about like, I don't know, sports betting? Because like if you are, you should probably go into data. Take your hobbies and make them your major. That's what I did. And it's going to make life a lot easier.
Absolutely. All right, ladies, it's 9:01. What a wonderful conversation. And I think we can definitely, when we, next week, when we talk about back to school, I think some of those things are going to overlap a little bit, right? But it was wonderful meeting you, Lexi. Thank you so much for your wisdom.
I don't know. Mistakes, maybe?
Wisdom.
No, I don't know. They say if you learn from it, it's not a mistake. It's a lesson.
Okay, we'll call it lesson.
God, I actually had that on my at Umid Center. It's no longer a mistake if it's a lesson. Yes. So with that, guys, check us out. We'll be around next week, and then I think we're gonna take the next month off because I'm traveling finally, and then we'll see you guys with a lot more wonderful topics. Parents, don't miss your kids too much. Remember, they're only a video call away.
That's right.
We didn't talk about social media, but use it to your advantage. Have virtual coffee, have virtual dinners, connect with your kids in college. And then that's it for me. You guys, ladies, you good to go?
Sounds good. Thank you guys, everyone. Have a great night. Thank you all for the audience who joined us. Bye now.
Take care. Bye-bye.